to order. Welcome to everybody. Hope some more people can join us as the meeting goes on. And I'm going to start the meeting by introducing Ms. Barbara Kobacker, who graciously agreed to offer our invocation this morning. Go ahead, Ms. Barbara.
Thank you. This is an old benediction. Let us pray. O God, be above us to command us, before us to guide us, be beside us to counsel with us, behind us to keep us from straying. Set your watch over us to protect us, and give to us your benediction of peace and kindness. Amen.
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 That was
Thank you,
wonderful,
Barbara.
Barbara. Thank you. Thank you very much. Our third item on our agenda is to adopt the agenda. Do I hear a motion to adopt our agenda as presented?
So moved.
Who is that? Who
Jim.
did that?
It was Jim.
Oh, that was Jim. Okay, thank you, Jim. A second?
Second.
Are you gonna?
Second from Bill. Any discussion?
Huh?
Any discussion? All right, all in favor of the adoption, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, so our agenda has been passed. And now item 4 is the adoption of our minutes. I know that you all reviewed the work session and special called meeting minutes on for June the 16th and the regular council meeting on June 23rd. Do I hear a motion to adopt these minutes as presented?
I'll make a motion.
All right, Bruce, thank you.
I second.
Second, thank you. All in favor, discussion. Do we have a discussion on this?
Only, yesterday I sent everyone a page out of the June 16th workshop minutes. I had suggested that we strike 2 little subheadings. I sent that to everyone yesterday. I sent it to Karen. They're just 2 unnecessary headings under a discussion that we had regarding the ordinances. And with that minor deletion, I think the minutes are fine, but I'd like to have those taken out.
All right, Bruce, I believe you made the motion. Would you accept adding his edit to your motion?
I will.
Okay, who seconded the motion?
I did, and I'll second the.
Okay, all right, now, any further discussion? All right, all of those in favor of accepting the minutes with the suggested edits signify by saying aye.
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 All opposed? Great, thank you. All right, item 5 is some words of wisdom for me, and I probably don't have any wisdom, but what I want to say is my sincere thank you and recognition to all our wonderful Sky Valley citizens and city employees who demonstrate their commitment to making Sky Valley a fabulous place. Thanks to our Public Works Department for staining the fence on the overlook and some railings around our city. I think they look great. I hope you've all noticed them. Also, they continue to battle and cut the vegetation around our city streets, park, post office, city hall entrance, and the building on Highway 246. I want to thank our police department and Public Works Department for responding to the recent flooding issues we had last week on Sky Valley Way. Their quick response certainly helped to keep all of us safe. It was quite a flood. If you didn't get to see it, it was something. Thank you also to Bob Powers, our code enforcement officer. I hope you all have had a chance to see his lovely picture and write-up in the Sky Valley Times. We appreciate everything he does for our city, and he can never quit. Also to our city hall workers for helping the visitors and the citizens in our city. And thank you, Ella, for procuring the wonderful 4th of July display. I think everybody thoroughly enjoyed it. It was fantastic. Any council members need to say anything?
I have one thing. I'm not sure this is the right time, but I did
Go
get a
ahead,
request from a citizen, asking that if it's possible, would the council consider holding in-person meetings outdoors? I don't know that we need to take any action today, but I just wondered if Ella could check into if that is logistically possible. Maybe
Yeah,
at
we
the
could-
pavilion.
We could do that. And also too, I received an email in reference to that as well. They feel like you're not able to voice their opinions during meetings. So, but they've asked that we, do that as well. So I've received that same thing, actually verbal from a couple other people that we need to do live meetings and not continue Zoom.
Okay.
I think the other feedback that we got was the time that this is scheduled. There are people that work that would like to attend, and they were suggesting 6 p.m.
Any other discussion?
Hey, I just wanted to say thank you to Ella and the city. A few weeks ago, I had passed a gentleman, I think had just bought a place here. And he said on the one-way street, is it Alex Mountain or Alpine?
Alpine. Mhm.
Alpine.
Yeah.
It's clearly marked one-way starting, but on the other end, there was a sign that said no through traffic. And it didn't seem to be effective. Long and short, the city went ahead and changed that to reflect that it's one way. And I think that'll benefit a lot of folks on that road. Because I think Dan McAfee mentioned there was always people coming the other way, and hopefully that will remedy that situation. So Ella, thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, well, we will certainly
Yeah.
take up the discussion about possible meeting changes. Jim?
Bruce is right. I encounter people going the wrong way on Alpine, every 2 weeks. And that doesn't count the ones that we miss. So, it's almost more dangerous having people coming from the wrong direction when you're not expecting it than it is to inch your way around some of the curves when you know that there might be somebody. So I think that's something we're going to have to address sometime in the future. I know that
Okay.
some of the driveways are not aligned for the one way, and it's just been a continuing source of problem for over 5 winters now. And this is something that the city has its fingerprints on this problem all over it. The city, 2 administrations have more or less ignored the problem. And, I think people are ready to come to a resolution, and I think there are resolutions out there. So as we look forward, let's plan on doing that. I just wanted to say how much I miss seeing all the normal friends and neighbors that we see every summer in Sky Valley. I sort of feel a little bit of a COVID-19 fatigue coming on. And yet the more used to having it around that we get, it still seems to be growing and a significant presence, so that this is no time to relax. Our demographic is particularly susceptible to this. There's no reason why we can't socially distance up here. There's no reason we can't all come out of this healthy and sane. We just need to keep distancing. And I know there's people that used to distance aren't distancing quite as well as they did. I would just say this is no time to relax, and we can all make it out of here. Regarding the council meetings in person, I have heard for years that working folks would like to have an evening meeting so that they could tune in. And I think that's a great idea, and there's no reason that we couldn't do that with Zoom. As to the open air meeting, again, that might be fine, but it's certainly not going to be as safe as it is on Zoom. Maybe this is just one of the things that we have to endure, but we can certainly discuss that. So thank you And I will yield the floor back to you, Holly.
Thank you. I will certainly ask for those two items to be placed on our next workshop meeting so we can discuss the one-way street and also possible changing of council meeting times on our next workshop. Okay? Any other discussion? All right, so now we're ready for our city manager report.
All right, I got a whole list here this morning. All right, first of all, you all know after our last council meeting, y'all had approved, hold on just a second, I'm getting some reverb, hold on just a minute. We had, y'all had approved the bucket truck, that we had went and looked at. Well, in the meantime, I'm sure y'all got my emails where while we were in the meeting, I texted him and told him that y'all had approved it. And even before I could get him all the information, they had accepted another down payment on it. And so we did not get the initial truck. They found us another truck. The guys actually went and looked. Tomorrow was a week ago. I was on vacation. They found another truck. So after discussing it and looking at what we were able to get for a little less money, we ended up getting the 2013 Freightliner truck. It is a little bit bigger truck, but it also is going to give us a little bit further reach to be able to trim up more and do more with it. So we did purchase that, and we have it here if y'all like to come by and look at it. The guys were like a kid in the candy store. They wanted to go see the truck when it got in, so they were very happy. So thank you for allowing us to do that. The other item, the backhoe, we're still waiting on the guy. James did talk with him on Friday. He still has not had a chance to go over it to make sure what needs to be done with it. The road striping, I know there's still a few areas that need to be repaired again. I don't know what he actually used this time, but I am concerned about the longevity. So I am going to talk with him about that and make sure that as this continues on, that we can continue to get repairs done, because evidently something was not put down right. So I'll follow up on that. The other thing is as you all know, I've been working on putting some roads out for resurfacing bids. Those bids are, sealed bids are due today at 2 p.m. I currently have 5 plan holders and hope to hear from all of those. So I'll let you all know once I get those in and evaluate the bids, and I'll send you all the information as far as the bid tab sheet and give you my recommendation as far as that, and maybe we can get this moved forward so these guys can get going. And the way I did it, I did 3 different roads, but due to the funding, I wanted to make sure we didn't overextend ourselves. So I did the main road, which was Alex Mountain, and did alternative bids for Rebel Circle and also for Evergreen. So that makes it where you don't have to accept all of them. It's according to the funding. So I'll present that to you as I get those and give you up to date. I have bid tab sheets that I'll be able to send you for that. Let's see, the next thing is the website. I'm hearing a lot of positive comments. People are calling and they are very pleased how easy it is to operate and go in to look for something. So just to keep you up to date on that. I've talked with our website designer as of yesterday, and she is ready for us to start sending information. She's working on the videos for us to be able to go in and do the repairs. So we'll, you know, the updates. So she's working on that. Just to give you a public works update, as always, like Holly said, they're continuing to mow the grass. They're working on Sheep Cliff. As of today, putting in some rock. Bruce had asked us to check on that, so we are getting some rock in to repair that, and they're working on that today. Also looking at, there was a request on the Winding Ridge entrance. I've talked to James about this, where it comes in there where you have the two columns. I have suggested that he, once we get our estimate from Mark, that we possibly look at doing something like some kind of river stone and not just putting riprap in there. I think that's too industrial looking, and I feel like the river rock will give it a better appearance and be more curb appealing. So I've asked him to check on that for us as well. He also is meeting with the sprinkler system people today for the main at the entrance. He has made contact with this person previously, so she's going to get with him today and should be able to give us an estimate so we can keep that moving forward. But as always, like Holly has already stated, grass cutting consumes a lot of our time right now in Public Works. We have a lot of roadways that we are maintaining. So they're working on that. Let's see, the police department, as you know, we got the new truck in. We're waiting on getting the decals and getting it equipped. The vendor has ordered the products for the vehicle, and he has not received those. I've also talked with the vehicle for the Durango, for a purchaser on that, and he said that the vehicle is in transit, so hopefully we'll have that soon. The 2021 budget process, we just received the tax amounts yesterday, and Elisa, which is actually, I want to acknowledge Elisa today. She is our deputy clerk and will be taking minutes for this meeting in Karen's absence today. So just wanted to acknowledge her. But she's working on getting the final homestead list together so we can start getting that information together, and then that way I can give you better amounts on the 2021 budget and what the projections for revenues will be. I've received the capital requests from Vaughn and James, and I'll send those out when I send out a preliminary 2021 budget worksheet. So I'll include those with that. The electrical at the Visitor Center and the main entrance, I just got those in today. The price for the Visitor Center was $1,646. And to redo the lighting, what they're recommending is to remove the low voltage lighting and installing lighting and wiring at 120 volts. And the price for doing that is $11,133.26. So that's, and I knew it was going to be rather expensive to do that, but if that's something y'all are interested in, moving forward with, I can get another bid. But with this, getting people, electricians up here to do work is almost impossible. We waited on one electrician to get back with us for a month, and he still didn't. And I happened to run into these people in Demarest, and he has come up, give us estimates, and has really been good to work with. So, that's up to you, but I would recommend, if we're going to do this, let's just go ahead and move forward with them. Also, the sign for the pickleball court, I have sent Mr. Crawford the information on that. I talked with him and followed up again with him today because I sent it to him last week. He said he should have me something in the next few weeks, at the most a week, to give me some idea what it's going to cost. He said he is extremely busy right now, but that moving forward, just to let you know where I am at on that sign. Also, too, I'm sure some of you noticed that the property where the covered bridge is located, there was this huge sign where it has been put up for sale. I did reach out to them, and they have since removed the big sign and are applying for one of our smaller signs. But while I was in conversation, I did ask him what they're asking for that property, and they are asking $775,000 is what that property is listed at, just to give you an FYI. So I just wanted to give you that information. Just for your records. I know, Jim, I thought the same thing. So I think that's pretty much all I have this morning. Like I said, we are moving forward with the budget, trying to get some things done, get reports done. If I can have a cutting off point, it makes it smoother because I have to go in and figure estimates for the rest of the year to get us through the end of the year. Also waiting on the audit. She has not finished with the audit. Hopefully that will be finished, and that gives me the actual final amounts that I can move forward with as well from last year. So I have actuals from the audit standpoint because I like to list those as well. I think that's pretty much it unless anyone has any questions.
Ella, what about the concrete pad by the pickleball court? When will
I've
that
done a
be?
work order, but the weather has not been conducive to getting that done. With all these rainstorms, it's hard to get that done. The guys have been trying to concentrate on keeping the grass up to date, and I have asked them to check on that. You know, I've done a work order for them to do it, but like I said, the water has not been conducive to getting that done with all these rain showers. I'm afraid we'd have just a muddy mess if we go over there while it's raining so much. Because in the next few days, I was looking at the weather this morning, it's anywhere from 40 to even like 70% chance of rain. So I don't want to go over there and make a mess so that they can't even utilize the court.
What, how many days dry do we have to make it conducive to do this?
I would say we're going to need at least 3 days because it's going to take them a day to go over there and get it prepped for the actual pad itself. And then it's also going to take, you know, at least another day for them to get it poured and finished. And then people will have to stay off of it for at least 24 to 48 hours before they can, you know, actually get on it. So, you know, we need at least 3 to 4 days. So you know, I can't say when we're going to get that since we live in a rainforest up here. So I'm like, okay, you know, it's something I can't control.
All right, about the electrical bid, do you feel you need to get a second bid before we go forward with this?
Well, I really don't. And like I said, getting people to come up here and do electrical work, as you know, all know, I mean, if you've ever had any electrical work done around here, it's few and far between getting electricians to come out and doing work around here. So unless y'all particularly want us to do another one, I would say let's just move forward, you know, to do that.
Can our budget support these costs?
We'll work it out. I mean, we can. I mean, we can. We've got, you know, we've got a little money. It's not like we're flat broke. So yeah, you know, if this is something y'all want to move forward with, I think we can go ahead and do this.
All right, any discussion from the council as to how you want to proceed with this electrical bid?
I'd like to see us get another bid. Maybe Ella, if you could share with us who you've been in touch with, and
Sure.
I might have a couple of suggestions that I can give you of people
Okay.
that have been
Yeah,
doing.
yeah. Because the one I've been dealing with is OK Electric out of Demarest. I think I mentioned that I had run into this guy like July the 3rd or something, out and about in town on my day off. But he was very good to follow up with me, you know, being very good. We had asked, like I said, another one to come up and give us an estimate. And every time we reach out, I'm busy, you know. So we get to the point, you know, why can't you come up? And I see the trucks and they won't even stop to give us a bid. So it's like, okay, do y'all not want to do any work for us at this point?
What about the rest of the council? Do we want to go with Ed's suggestion of trying to procure another bid?
Yes.
Yeah, I think so.
I agree.
Okay, that sounds like pretty much what we need to do then, Ella. Thank you.
Okay, all right, we'll get another one.
All right, item 7, our committee reports. Again,
Holly?
thanks. Yes, sir.
I have a question for Ella.
Okay.
I think I understood that we've got the new bucket truck in now.
Mm-hmm.
And so congratulations, great job. I'm thrilled. Could you talk to James and report back to us on what the plan looks like for actually getting the tree trimming started? How long it would take to do it all? How we're going to accomplish that?
Yeah, we can get some type plan together for that. Just to give you a heads up, you know, even though you have the big bucket truck and we are going to be able to trim up a little higher, it still limits us with the number of employees that we have, because when you have one person in the bucket truck, you're required to have at least 2 people on the ground. So we need to we have to make sure we have all that covered. And, and it takes a while to get all that together. So just don't go think we're going to go out and just start trimming up everything all of a sudden, because right now the guys just don't have the time. We're trying to do the grass cutting. This is more of a fall thing. We really like to do our trimming in the fall because it really is more conducive. It's much easier to take the limbs down. It's much easier to see. And also too, after everybody has gone for the season, traffic is not near as bad.
Right. And, the reason I ask is that it's a really big job. I mean,
Oh, yeah.
we've got 28 miles of road. We've got all the other work that they have to do at the same time. That's why I asked for a plan. And
Right.
So we can manage expectations and let people know.
Yeah.
So,
Well, what we can do is probably what we need to do is, like, James and Jerry and myself need to just ride around and look and see what areas we need to concentrate on. There will always be, a tree that needs to come down or a limb that needs to be trimmed. And now that we have a bucket truck that is operational, I think it will benefit not just us, but everyone else.
right. Thank you.
Uh-huh.
So you'll let us know what you all decide to do, Ella?
Yes,
After you
ma'am.
ride around?
Yeah. After we ride around, like I said, it will be better if we can, not saying we won't get some done before the fall. If we can, concentrate this on the fall, I think that would be better off for our guys.
Any other
mean, the one thing-
comments? Go ahead,
The
Jim.
one thing that I get from our citizens is that people don't seem to realize that even with our employees, we're still running pretty much of a bare bones operation. We don't have a lot of slack in the schedule. The guys are busy all the time. So anytime we have a big project, it's going to displace other things. So there's an art to fitting it in. And I certainly trust Ellen and James to figure out how to do this.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else?
Yes, I'd like to just add a little bit to that conversation. Clearly, in the summertime, it's a matter of priorities, and James and Ella, I'm sure, are doing their best to prioritize the work that needs to be done. Ella, when you do the ride around, though, if we've got some areas that really need attention now,
Yeah.
I would suggest that we try and get some bids and get some outside help to do that. So just keep that in mind when you're doing that. And one last thing is, there was a repair done over by the number 9T, where the road was dug up and the gravel there. I think the club people have been trying to keep that area. They keep blowing off the gravel and so forth. But do we have a plan to repave that anytime soon?
I'm not sure. I'll check with James and see, but if it was something that we did, yes, it will be repaired. I can tell you that. It won't, the gravel will not remain. It will be done. And this may be something too with our paving contract, if we can get somebody in to do that, if the guys feel like they can't do it. But yeah, I'll check into that and see what we can do. But yeah, if it's gravel, we need to get it fixed.
In line with Ed's comments, he stimulated a thought that, as we look at the tree trimming project, I would be happy if we could prioritize, which streets are worst and do those first, which streets are the most visible, do those first. But just a thought.
Yeah, that's what I was talking about. That's why we want to do a ride around and see which areas need, the work done the soonest. I mean, because that's why when we start looking, we'll have that.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. All right, let's move on to item 7. That's committee reports. And again, thank you to all our committee chair people and people who volunteer. y'all I know are working hard to make our city better and ready for an exciting future. So without further ado, Mr. Bob O'Keefe, you want to give us your marketing committee report?
Thank you. Marketing's been pretty busy over the last few months. I'll just try to give you some of the highlights and some of the things we're thinking about. We have pretty much satisfied what we feel is the need for print media for the year, with one possible exception. The Mountain Traveler magazine came out at the beginning of the month. We have a half-page ad, a very nice article. We left a few copies down at the City Hall if anybody's interested, but you can pick it up pretty much anywhere in town. We've sent out a couple of email blasts from Doug Hollingsworth, and one was a full-page ad that was similar to the one that was in the Traveler. One just came out this past week, I believe it was. He's made some contacts with local businesses, so they highlighted Sky Valley as well as the Dillard House, and Dillard House was thrilled with that. We figured using those associations can help us quite a bit. We are looking to update our photos. We need high-res quality photos that are fairly recent. Many of the ones we have are not high-res, or the trees are like a foot tall. So we're going to try to, as a matter of fact, this afternoon, Doug and I are meeting with a photographer to get his ideas on taking high-resolution photos and possibly some drone video that we could conceivably add to wherever we want to add it. The marketing committee, so therefore basically the whole community is supporting the senior golf event that's coming up on Monday the 8th. Out of marketing funds, we are putting on the happy hour of hors d'oeuvres and a drink. We are also supporting a goodie bag, and we've got donations from one of the golf ball companies gave us little sleeves of golf balls. The club is a bag of teas and a golf tool. The marketing committee had a small number of the Sky Valley decals and bumper stickers printed specifically for this event. And I got a bunch of copies of the Northeast Georgia map that has one of our ads featured in it that's going to go in that goodie bag. And I'm also going to drop those down at the workshop today. Again, kudos to Ella on the website. It looks great. We're having discussions on that as well. And some of the discussions, these have not been decided, but are under conversation, that perhaps we could add temperature readout to the website, because we have basically rebranded using the highest, coolest city in Georgia. I know that it's now kind of getting out into circulation. It was even on the newsletter that came out this week. So it's on the POA site as well. So the more we can do that and rebrand and hang on to we're the highest and coolest city in Georgia, then that becomes our tagline. Well, what are you? We're the highest and coolest city in Georgia. Right. And that seems to be working out fairly well. And one of the things is possibly we're really looking heavily into, and probably make a decision this coming meeting in 2 weeks, to get a webcam installed here in the valley somewhere and have it maintained by that company, and possibly have that somehow attached to the city website, so people can just click on, see, here's our temperature, wow, look at the weather up here, and build that into a one place, you know, all go to the one place to shop kind of a place, because that is how people are finding out about places. I know that Debbie's going to talk about the survey, but we're getting some really good response about how people are finding out about Sky Valley, and it's not the way we used to do it when we were younger. So we are moving toward finally being in the 21st century as far as marketing activities are concerned. Regarding the decals and stickers, we're getting responses from those, so we'll know what the people want, and I've petitioned to forward Raven, which is the new conglomeration of the Chamber of Commerce and their marketing efforts. And Madam Mayor and a few of us went down and visited the new Welcome Center. It is great. If we actually do put one in our building on 246, we've got a good example of some things that we can do. And I petitioned to them to pay for at least the first distribution of stickers, because the hotel motel tax money goes to them that can be spent on direct marketing that we employ. And that's what our intention is as far as that goes. We do have publications coming out with Mountain Lake Publications on several digest-sized magazines. One's already out there. We're going to have full-page ads in the next 3 publications. They'll take us through the end of the year. We have the 2 Georgia maps, the North Georgia Travel Association map, as well as the visitor map of the Blue Ridge Mountains of Northeast Georgia and Southwest North Carolina. I sat with him about a week and a half ago to design the ad that we're going to use. Let's see. One of the conversations we're going to have is updating the billboard that's down at the foot of 246 to incorporate the highest and coolest city, as well as to update the road signs that are coming up 246. Most of those signs are somewhat okay, may need a little bit of updating. Had a suggestion from a citizen of maybe get a light on them as they're coming up the hill, which I think would be a great idea if that's possible. So there are some of the things that we were talking about. Holly has a friend from her past life that makes promotional videos, and she is having them look into promoting one for us as well. We had a citizen respond to one of our last marketing meetings with a things to do link that they use for their own rental business. They own 4 properties here in Sky Valley. And the feedback I've gotten is a lot of the citizens are very excited about the fact that we're actually marketing Sky Valley, this particular person, because he owns 4 properties. And we're going to look into possibly either using his or something like the things to do link, so that when people are here, they can just click on it and find places to go. I know that when people go on vacation, it's usually for the experience. And sometimes when you get there, you're like, okay, what do we do when we're here? And a website, again, is the way people find things nowadays. Also want to kudos to the club. They updated their website. It's great. It's brand new. It's fresh. It's awesome looking. And we have a lot of things on our burners, so to speak. So I'm going to stop there because I think I've taken enough time of your valuable time. So if anybody needs any information, they can attend the next marketing meeting, which is on Thursday, the 13th of August at 10 a.m., or they can contact me either through here or my emails or whatever the case may be. Any questions I can answer? Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you, Bob. I'm excited about what you and your committee are doing. I think it's exciting. I love it. All right, our next committee report, Bill Oliver, if you'll start off and then introduce Debbie to do her thing about the survey, take it away.
Sure. I have one of the major projects we've been working on to report on. Tim Dara has done a good job setting up meetings with Windstream and True Vista, looking at where we are exactly with the internet service. Working on mapping the coverage and the speeds that everybody has access to, and identifying gaps and some plans to resolve. Windstream has been working. Don't know how good the results are yet. The surprising thing from that meeting is True Vista's coverage seems to be quite a bit better.
Because we just lost Bill, I think. You there, Bill?
I'm here.
Yeah, he's here.
Go ahead. You might want to repeat what you said last because you kind of faded out.
Okay, what did you hear last?
I don't know.
True Vista.
Yeah, looks like True Vista has quite a bit better coverage than Windstream right now.
You were talking.
Ollie?
Yeah.
He's the one that keeps fading out on me, so.
Am I fading out?
No, you're not fading out with me.
Okay, it's
Okay. Okay,
Holly's.
go ahead. Maybe it's me then, sorry. It's my wonderful connection here.
So long
Did you
story
need to
short,
say anything else?
long,
Yeah,
long story short, looks like True Vista has more extensive coverage with some smaller gaps than Windstream, and they're looking at their options to improve that as well. So it's been educational, and it looks like we're a little better off than we thought we were. It just depends on what provider is in what area of Sky Valley. So we're continuing to push them, and I'd like to thank Tim Dara for setting that up and working on that.
and we will get a summary to the citizens when they get finished, Bill.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
And then the next piece is the surveys that we've sent out. So I'll turn that over to Debbie to give us a quick update there.
All right. We are getting responses. We sent out the request. Hold on, I'm going to try to cut out some reverb here.
Ella,
Yeah.
you might want to
Okay.
mute Jim, because you're getting
She did.
feedback between the two. Okay.
Okay, let me do that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. We sent out the survey on July 18, and to date, we have received 218 replies. The request went out to all of the POA members. That was roughly 500. And we tried to reach out to non-POA members through the Tax Digest, identify people who owned what appeared to be homes. So right now, the top line is the things that people appreciate the most about Sky Valley: the natural beauty, it's a quiet place to relax, the safety and well-maintained streets and recycling. So they appreciate both the natural qualities and what the city is providing. They are impressed with what you're doing as far as infrastructure, clear the ditches and roadsides, pave and stripe the streets, and trim the trees were top comments that came in. Their preferred amenities are hiking trails, the country club, and the fitness center. They would like a commercial district, but they're divided as to whether they want a sewer. And the people who are responding are pretty much 50-50 full-time residents and seasonal or part-time visitors. We'll continue to collect responses until August 7th, and I'm giving weekly reports to the council president and the mayor. At the end of the survey, there'll be a summary that's distributed to the citizens. So we will share all of this, but I just wanted to give you a quick top line.
Great, thanks,
That's
Debbie.
all I have.
Thank you. And then once those we've closed it and compiled those results, we'll get, as a council and city manager will get together and discuss and set some priorities and look at what needs to change, if anything, and to make sure that what we're working on is aligned with what those survey results are.
I have a question for Debbie.
Yes, sir.
I sent Debbie a message this morning, but I'm just wondering if how many of our residents have been unable to respond to the survey, or whether the feedback I got from one of our citizens was an anomaly.
Ed, I can't answer that. They were sent a link that is a tiny URL link. And what I discovered working with the Sid Weber people is if you have Microsoft, even if it's not the tiny URL link, you get a warning signal that says outside links may damage your computer, and you have to click trust, either trust or accept. And when we tested this for Sid Weber, some of our older people who aren't that familiar with computers panicked and said, no, I'm not going to click that. So that's the big stumbling block that I see. I have not heard anyone else say they couldn't, but they didn't know to contact me. I'm glad someone contacted you. And please tell them, well, ask first, are you getting a warning message? And if you are, please click accept or trust.
Okay,
Right.
Any other questions?
thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, Debbie.
Sure.
Bill, did you have anything else to report?
No, but I see that Carla Stahl sent over a message about True Vista's not in their, she's not in their coverage or plan, and we did identify that in our last meeting. You know, that was the one area that they seem to not have coverage, and we're Carla, we're working on it.
Thank you. Wasn't someone from True Vista going to contact Carla?
They said they would, yeah.
Okay, great, great.
And she talked to them apparently, and they
Okay,
said they don't have coverage there or plan there yet.
okay. All right. Thank you, Bill. That was wonderful. And now, Mr. Bruce, would you give us the Special Projects Committee report?
Thank you, Holly. One quick comment for Ella, which I'm not sure it's a special projects, and I sent you a little teaser on the fire extinguishers over at the city pavilion. We're, you know, a lot of us are kind of by word of mouth trying to promote that. So because it's a great venue, there's 3 grills over there, and I noticed over at the club pavilion there are 2 fire extinguishers, because you know when we were doing the pancake breakfast, and we do a lot of cooking stuff over there. So if that's something you could look at to see, maybe with the fire department, we could get those installed there so that there's no liability, and if we have an issue, we can resolve it right quick.
Yeah, but let me, I'll give you just a little brief update on that. That was on your list yesterday. And we recently had to update our fire extinguishers here within the city on our facilities and our equipment, because a lot of them did not have them. And we talked to the gentleman that was doing it. He recommended that we not put anything there, because he said he's afraid that people will walk off or damage them or empty them out. But what I have asked James to do in the meantime is to just go buy 2, smaller ones and leave them out there and have them mounted. That's something that we can just upkeep. But yeah, I've asked him to do that for us, so we can just have some that are not the ones that we're getting through our extinguisher company that we're using for the city at this point.
Yeah, the ones over at the club pavilion are mounted on the posts, which
Okay.
you know, I guess you can't keep people from stealing it, but
Yeah.
being that there's a lot of
Yeah, excuse me, I just got a message they were put up yesterday and they are on the post. So
Perfect.
Good deal. They took care of it.
Pardon me,
Nice.
and I appreciate it.
Good
Thanks,
deal.
Ella.
No, good. That's why we got to follow up. Okay.
Okay, well, I'm going to just start down the list, the priority action list that was compiled back a few months from people giving feedback on what they wanted to see as priority actions. Maintain the walking path in Associated Park. I believe from what I've seen that the city's done a real good job mowing that area. Everything over there is going to be ongoing. The walking path is going to have weeds with all the rain we've had. But I think the city's done a real nice job maintaining that. There's a lot of activity over there now, a lot of people walking their dogs. There's a lot of families with their children walking around there. So it's real encouraging. The city installed the swings there and they seem to be getting a lot of play. So it's just been a real positive effort by the city to maintain that and make it a real asset to the city. The second item was the install the dog park. And that's something we're pursuing with Harrison Merrill because we have to seem to have a lack of property that would accommodate that isn't owned by Harrison Merrill. So that's something that's still in our sights, and we'll continue to see if that's something that we can make happen. Enforce the 9/11, that's been kind of a slow go. Ella, I'm not sure, how we can, as a city, rattle some cages or push that any more than we already have. So what's your thought?
Yeah, what we could do, we could sort of do a little, as we're riding around looking at the trees, we can do this all in one. We'll just have a couple of different lists, and maybe we can notice some houses, if we see some that don't have the appropriate signs, and maybe just send them a little flyer.
And it's to their benefit that they comply.
Yeah, and this may be something, Moody, if you can chime in with me, we may could get the fire department to help us out with this as well. If we see we're getting a bunch, they may be saying, hey, we can't come put a fire out, if you don't have your address up, something to that effect. Emergency services can't find some of these houses up here if they don't have a house number, and that is very prevalent up here, and that's why we have to, when they do have to call somebody and the police department is out, they have to leave tracks out for them to get to the location.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure the city has an ordinance that specifies
We do.
how big the signs and
right, we do.
The
but
fire
getting
department
them
will
to,
definitely encourage or do whatever we need to do to tell the people.
Yeah, and it may be something that we need to, to bring out, and make sure that we include, and we did include it in a Sky Valley Times already, that they needed to do that. So, yeah.
Well, and it's also to everyone's benefit. I've noticed if you're going to an emergency and you're looking for a specific house number and you come to a house that doesn't, you slow down at that house trying to figure out what it is. And the problem may be two houses down the street, and you're causing those people a delay because you don't know what number you're at.
Right.
So it affects everybody.
Right. And that's something else we could put on the utility bill. I think we did that as well, but we can maybe try that again too, to put it on the utility bill to make sure that they do have, the proper signage for emergency services.
I appreciate it. Very good. Next item was the front entrance lighting not being visible. I believe that there is a proposal forthcoming to look at the electrical at that front entrance in regard to the light for the flagpole and the existing lighting. And I understand that we may be able to use the existing lighting and just get higher, brighter lights. And that's going to depend on what the electrical proposal shows, if the existing fixtures can handle higher voltage bulbs. So that is something that is in the process. And like I said, there's a proposal in place or forthcoming. Clean mildew off the Sky Valley stones. I met with Mark Wanamaker last Friday, I believe, at the large sign coming up 246 just past the overlook. He's going to submit a proposal to clean that sign, to mow on either side, the north side and the south side, or east side and west side of that sign. He's going to raise the canopy and cut some trees that are around there, trim that rhododendron that is behind the sign going north or going into Sky Valley. And then he's going to put in a bed a semicircular bed will come out all the way to the light, the existing light there, which is broken, and he will fix that.
Okay. Also, too, do you know that that light, my understanding is, because we checked on that this morning, the city does not currently pay for that power, and it's a separate electric meter. And since it's a club sign, we're under the understanding the club must be paying for that. So
It is metered, and Ed, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. So he's going to fix that light. And the bed is going to come from either, both sides of the sign in a semicircle. He's going to plant some annuals. If we accept the proposal, he may plant some annuals. He's going to plant perennials. He may plant some annuals to get some quick color. So that proposal I expect to see by the end of this week, and we'll circulate it through the council. And I guess once everybody looks at it, and I'm clear with Mark, because I walked with him, and if I have any questions or need clarification from him, I urge maybe all the counselors to go down there and look at it to see if they're clear on what the proposal's saying, or if they have any comments like, can we do this out of the other, so we can get it finalized and see if we can move forward with that. Nice thing about that, if we accept it, is he will maintain that. And it won't be something that, we were going between the club, the city, whose responsibility is. So if we accept it, Mark will maintain it just like he maintains the city hall and the other areas that are under his contract. Continue to clean garbage. Again, that's ongoing. There are a few of us that when the city mowed that area from the junction up there, once they went through, a lot of us went through and picked up the garbage. And it's an ongoing thing. You can pick it up the next day. There's something behind it, but it's an ongoing thing. And I think if we keep after it, I don't think it's going to be an issue where there's an accumulation, but it's something that's ongoing. Stain the overlook fence. It's done. It looks wonderful. And thank you, Ella and the city, because that was a big improvement. And also the guardrail going up Ridge Pole. I'm assuming it's the same stain, but it really looks sharp, and killing the weeds underneath it to make it low maintenance. Big improvement. I spoke with Shelley yesterday regarding the timeshare concerns regarding the park and the maintenance building. She said that next week they're going to start on the park. They're going to start cleaning up the rails and the walkways going down into it. It's they're covered up now because she said they didn't really anticipate the level of interest that we were going to get, and I'm assuming it's due to the COVID. People are getting out of the urban areas, so they're extremely busy and shorthanded. But next week they're going to be starting on the park, so we'll keep after that and see what kind of progress that Shelley can give us on that issue. The timeshare building, she says it's probably going to be September before they get to that, because I guess there's some repairs and some decks that they're going to have to address. But that'll probably be September. So again, that's a date that she gave me, and she says worst case, everything will be completed by the end of this year. The electric vehicle stations that was referenced back a few months ago. I'm not sure how we approach that. Like I say, I think timeshares and the club would benefit that as much as the city, and I'm not sure how we would, if there was an appetite for that, how we would accomplish it. So that may be something that you just want to continue to keep in the back of your mind to see with the club, the city, timeshares, how and if we can make that happen.
Hey, Bruce.
Yes.
A lot of those questions on some of these things, like the dog park, the electric charging station, et cetera, is on that survey. And that'll give us some real guidance once we close that out.
Okay, to see if there's an appetite for it.
Correct.
Okay. The last item I have, and I can't thank the Garden Club for what they've helped with when we identified a lot of common areas that we'd like to see improved. And Debbie's done a wonderful job, and the Garden Club. I don't know if everybody's had a chance to get around the Big Rock on LaBelle. They improved that, and that's going to be an area that will evolve. In the fall, they're going to take a Coosa dogwood that we have, remove that and plant it there. And so a lot of these areas at the Garden Club are evolving. You know, some of the plantings now look small, but you know, everybody that plants stuff in their yard know it takes a few months for them to develop. But some of the areas the Garden Club has provided is the Rock at LaBelle in Ridgepole, Driver Lane in Mud Creek. They've added some stuff around the City Hall and Post Office and on the front entrance. And I would urge anyone, you see what common areas that we're referring to, and as you ride through Sky Valley in your neighborhoods, if you see any areas that you believe could be improved that are kind of common areas, let us know. And you know, our effort is to improve the overall appearance of Sky Valley, and what the Garden Club has done has, I think, hit the mark. And that's all I have.
Thank you, Bruce. That's great. And you all are doing a wonderful job. And I agree with you about the Garden Club helping out was wonderful. We certainly, well, go ahead.
I had one more thing I wanted to add.
Sure.
With Mark Wanamaker's proposal. What he urged is once and if we approve his proposal, he's going to give us a bill of materials as far as what plantings he needs. And at that point, he suggests we go to the citizens and say, okay, we're going to need this, 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 and this, so that everybody has a say and a dog in the hunt, and they can come up that hill and say, you know, this family donated the hostas or this plant. And I think it gives the community a more of a active role in some of these areas. So just wanted to add that.
I think that'd be great for citizen participation. And I know we have a lot of people who are avid gardeners that could share some of their good stuff with the city. That would be great. Thank you very much, Bruce. Bill, when was your next mayoral advisory committee?
I believe it was the 12th.
The 12th, okay.
I'm checking right now, hold on.
Okay, that'd be great. While you check, I want to mail, it is?
10, yeah, the 12th at 10 a.m.
Thank you very much. We welcome anybody in Sky Valley. Contact these chairpersons if they have suggestions or questions or want to volunteer to work on any projects. We love having you all participate. The more, the better. And thank you, gentlemen, for your reports. And thank you, Debbie, for everything you've done for that survey. All right, next agenda item is our city attorney report. Mr. Kidd's been researching our city-owned lots and emergency right-of-way easement deeds. Doug?
He left.
Holly,
He had to leave.
Oh,
Yeah.
he did?
Yeah, he
Hey.
had to leave. He sent a notice out to you. He had to leave. He had an 11 o'clock appointment. So he said he'd
Okay.
have to update us later.
Okay, all right, we'll move on then. I had asked Moody to investigate all the roadways that we could use for an entrance and exit into Sky Valley. After the flash flood the other day, when I was coming back into Sky Valley and I couldn't get home because the water was totally over the road in the golf course area. It was something, and the rushing water was kind of scary. Also, we have flood advisories for today. Anyway, I've asked Moody, since he's working with Public Works and the department there, that since he's a trained engineer, I asked him to please share his findings and recommendations and to investigate all the roads that we have possibly available to use for this. So Moody, I'm gonna let you take it away.
Okay, I'll just sort of give a broad history. The other afternoon when it flooded, just as an example, I foolishly went to get the mail and went across the road before it flooded. And had I waited 5 more minutes, I would have probably spent the next 2 or 3 hours waiting to get back across that road, which that's an inconvenience. But if there was a medical emergency or a fire emergency, that may be more than an inconvenience. The easiest way out from the south side of Mud Creek is through the lower Heatherstone. But those are private roads. We don't have their permission that I know of to use those roads. There is a gate blocking that. I'm sure in a life or death situation we could do that, but we might want to check with someone up there. I know Ed West lives in that area, and just get a feel or maybe even a commitment that we could use those roads in a real emergency. I don't expect if it was a 2 or 3 day thing that they would want all of the traffic of Sky Valley coming through their roads. But the problem I think there at the 10th tee is the culverts under the roads are just undersized and they're fairly well dilapidated. And there's the danger that in a real bad situation would wash the road away. And if that happened, you're looking at days, weeks of that being blocked. And the south side, if you can't go through Heatherstone, there's no easy way out. We do have used in the past down Evergreen Way out to Crusher Run Road, but that's one of the things that Doug is checking on. That road has gotten in bad shape. The city does not own that road, so we really would have to get permission to use it and to upgrade it. But that's another option that's probably worthwhile. Some of you may remember that 10, 15 years ago, 246 washed away. And that was several days. The only way to get from Sky Valley to Dillard was to go to Highlands and through Franklin and back down that way, unless you could use that road. Fortunately, at that time, the road was usable. There are a couple of other options, probably not very good. I think it's called Scotland Lane, which is off of Covered Bridge Link. At one time, went all the way out and came out at the Covered Bridge. Of course, that goes through the property that is now for sale, and that is private property, and that's probably not a good option.
Yeah.
The current hiking trail from the waterfall is actually, as best I can tell, owned by the city. Going back to history, for the first 10 years that Sky Valley was a city, the city did not own a single road. They were all private. All the roads in Sky Valley were private roads owned by the resort. In 1987, the resort sold the roads to the city. And that was a proposed main entrance road. What is the hiking trail now is actually going to be possibly a main entrance road. The city, I think, owns that. We'd have to do some research, but that would be a very expensive proposition. You'd have to build a bridge at the end of Covered Bridge Link across the creek for that to be usable. Possible, but that's probably not a good option. There's always the possibility that 246 could wash away. That could be a landslide. Who knows? But there's really only one way in and out of Sky Valley if that happens, unless you go through North Carolina. So I'm thinking that we need to try to work out something with Heatherstone so that we could use those roads, and also pursue getting the old Evergreen way opened up. At the very bottom of that road, there's now a house that has been built. We would have to get permission to go across their property. That may be hard to do. And there's a couple of lots down there that you could go out. We'd also have to get permission to go across those lots. And hopefully Doug is going to have us some information on that.
If you were setting a priority to solve this problem, what would your first couple items be, Moody?
Well, the Heatherstone thing is the easiest way out.
Okay.
But of course, that wouldn't help us if Highway 246 was damaged.
Right, right.
And then the Evergreen Way is, that road has been neglected because really no one is taking responsibility for it. The city, I don't think, can take responsibility for it without easements. But that's the next best way to get in and out of Sky Valley.
Does the county own any property in that area that the roadway would be on?
If you look on the county map, the lot where the person has built the house is still marked as the old Kelsey Mountain Road. I don't know if that's owned by the county or if that's just, that road, Kelsey Mountain Road, and this is going way back in history, was the way into Sky Valley when it was a farm. And actually the first year I lived here, the school buses came up through that
Wow.
road. And Larry McClure had to let the county convince them to abandon that road. So then it became part of Sky Valley.
Okay.
But
So Sky
then-
Valley, you think owns that?
No, it was part of the resort and it was not part of the roads that was transferred, that was
Okay.
sold to the city. So it's now, best I can tell, each property owner owns to the center of the road that's adjacent to their property. So it involves easements from all of those people.
Okay. So that's what Doug could work on.
That's what he's working.
What are your feelings about the culvert that obviously was inadequate the other day for
Yeah.
our flash flooding right
I
there
think-
by the club?
Long-term solution is going to be to rip that out and replace it. I'm thinking of a concrete box culvert or a bridge.
Yeah.
And during that construction, obviously, you're going to have to find another way in and out unless one lane could be kept open. But that's
And
something that'll take an engineer to.
Well, actually, let me chime in on that one, because when the guy did the Knob Drive, when he came in and did that, he told us that he would be able to do that one without an engineer coming in and designing it for us. He said that he would be glad to come in and give us an estimate on it, and he could keep one side of the road open the entire time. He
Well,
said he
that's-
would not have to block the
Yeah.
whole road. Yes.
I have had
So-
some experience with that company when I was working in Clayton, and they do good work, and they did a good job over on Knob Drive. So
Yes, I mean, I was very pleased with his work, and he did what he said he was gonna do. So if y'all would like, I can reach out to him and let's go ahead and try and head this one off before we, get in a bad situation. I mean, we
I
can go
think
ahead
if
and
you all,
contact him.
if you all look into that culvert, I don't know what's holding it up because the pipe is just about all the way gone. I don't know what's holding that up,
Yeah.
really.
Okay.
What do you all think as far as getting a proposal?
Yes.
I think so.
Yes.
Okay.
Ed,
And the construction to be done perhaps over the winter when we don't have so much traffic in Sky Valley.
that's a good idea.
Well,
What
I
do you
can,
think? Go ahead, Ella, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. No, I can go ahead and reach out to him because he said he'd be glad to come back and look at it. He said, don't hire an engineer. We don't need to do all that again like we had to do with Knob. He said he can handle everything. And like I said, he told me, he said he'd be willing to help us any way he could.
And we did get some assistance from Georgia DOT, didn't we? Would that be
Yes, we
possible
did. We
again?
got some emergency LMIG money for that one. We did. And we might could get it. I actually already have my letter in for my 2021. If we could work it out for our 2021 project, that would be even better if we can hold out for a few months,
Yeah.
And we're close enough now. It may be after first of the year before he could get to it anyway, unless it come to be an emergency situation. So, but if we had everything ready to go, yeah, we could use that for our 2021 LMIG and get some money for that as well.
Any other councils people want to say anything about that? I think personally it's a great idea.
I agree.
Okay.
I know
Everybody
it's something,
Only
I know
Doug,
it's something that, go ahead, Ed.
only that I agree that we should do that. And I thought we did a survey of all the culverts in the area, and at the same time, we ought to go through those and prioritize those in terms of what needs to be done now, and or at least making a schedule for repairing those in the future.
Yeah. Also, too, we need to look at the one at the chapel as well, because it causes problems. Those two, the way they both intertwine, I think if we're going to do one, we may be better off to go ahead and do both of them. So we're not, undersized. That's not going to help if you maintain the other part. I think if we're going to do both, we need to go ahead and do both of them and not just one.
Well, didn't James create a culvert repair
He did.
list?
He did.
Okay.
He did. We have that. Yes. And those two are on the top of the list. They are.
Okay. Could you send the council that list?
Yeah, I think I still have it.
Thank you, ma'am. That would be
Well,
great.
And the question is, are we asking for bids on repairing those?
Well, what we can do is I can get with the gentleman. I think his name was Hayes, Mr. Hayes. I can get with him and have him come up and look at it and let him just give us an estimate, not necessarily a bid at this point, just to give us some idea of what we're looking at. Because I can use the bids to apply for the LMIG money. And if we feel like we can hold off, because right now we've got to concentrate now. I've got a bid out for paving. Man, I'm not sure what that price is going to come in at too. So, we need to make sure we have money to do exactly what we need to do. So I don't want to overextend on that end of it. I mean, if it's something we got to do, we got to do it. But if we can get Mr. Hazian to just give us some ideas, what he thinks it would cost to fix both and not get bids at this point, just to be able to move forward.
Your thoughts on that, guys?
Yes.
Yes, okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Strategically, if we do the box culvert first, does that take some of the pressure off needing to do the work down on Evergreen to get that road open?
I would think so. That would eliminate one of the main problems is flooding that road. That's the most often reason that you would need to go out the back way.
And possibly secure access through the lower Heatherstone also, just in case we needed to use that area. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, if there was an interruption on the road coming up the hill, 106, 246, or on Ball Mountain Road, we would still, I think, benefit from having the rear entrance at Evergreen.
Yes,
and,
I agree.
I think that would, potentially emergency vehicles could use that for certain parts of Sky Valley, perhaps as a normal course of events. So
Yeah.
I think that's probably strategically the most important, and yet the one down by the lodge is the one that sort of, catches our eye. It's not a major emergency, it's a minor emergency, but
Well, it would be major if it washed
if
out.
it washed
for sure.
out, it surely would.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
if you look at the box culvert down on Kelly's Creek Road, near the road to the waterfall, it's just a real visual. It's so open compared to our two culverts, which look big
Right.
the first time you see them, but then they flood.
Yeah.
The box culvert's not gonna. It's like almost an open passageway for the water there.
Okay.
Great.
I think
So let's
I think
get a
we
bid and let's see what it'll take to fix it.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's a great idea. Thank you, Ella. Okay. Now thank you, Moody, by the way, for doing all that work. Appreciate it. I went down to go through Evergreen to see what the road looked like, but the gate that right there was closed, so I couldn't go any farther. So I assume it's in pretty bad shape down that way.
Yeah, it takes a high clearance four-wheel drive.
Yeah. I was in the truck and I could see where it would be kind of rough, and that people in regular cars would have a hard time navigating that road. All right, so that is something all on our to-do list. It's my pleasure to ask for a motion to consider a proclamation for Debbie Dalhouse Curtis Day today, July 30th, 2020. She is an exemplary example of a Sky Valley volunteer. She worked for weeks on a professional city survey. She's been chairman of the Landscaping Advisory Committee, working with our professional landscaper, and they've worked really hard. She served on the Garden Club board for years. She recently participated with a small group to do plantings around Sky Valley, like Bruce described. She's worked with the kudzu eradication group. She's worked with Sid Weber. She's helped bag leaves along with other council members. 53 60-gallon bags of leaves to help out a citizen. She helped clean up the Mud Creek Road for our 4th of July weekend. She's dug up and planted plants around the various corners in Sky Valley. And I can come up with a pile more ventures that she has volunteered and participated with. So I know she's thoroughly embarrassed and doesn't want to talk about this, but I know that we all want to thank her. And so do I hear a motion to accept this proclamation?
I make a motion that we accept.
I will second.
the motion.
Okay, thank you, thank you, thank you. Any discussion on this?
Just will add to the discussion that Debbie, year before last, and her husband helped plant daylilies along the old walking path down by the club.
Right.
And haven't been down there lately. They just were fabulous this year. So
Yes,
just
they
another
do.
thing that Debbie was very helpful with.
Yeah. Anybody else need to say anything? Oh, she's got a crown on. Look at that, y'all.
This is from my kids because they know I hate this sort of thing. I'm happy to
Debbie,
help.
you're going to have to give that back to Jim.
Oh, God.
Hello, Rebecca and Rafa. Anybody else need to say anything about Miss Debbie?
Just a big thank you.
Thank
She's
you.
great. Thanks, guys. We really appreciate it. She's done all this work and hasn't got any recognition, so we really appreciate all this recognition for the council. So thank you.
You're welcome.
You're welcome. All right. Have we had the motion second and first and all that? Have we
Yes.
set the motion?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All in favor of making her queen for the day signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed. And Debbie, you cannot hide in your house because people want to thank you. Thank you, Debbie. Okay, guys.
Thank you.
All right. All right, Debbie, you can go into obscurity now. Item 10 is our roof variance request. First, I'm going to ask our city manager to give the council a summary from our code enforcement officer, Bob Powers, in reference to this variance request, and please include the variance hearing procedures.
Okay, just to give you an idea how this needs to go. Normally what would have happened is that this would have been presented to the Planning and Zoning Committee, but since we don't have one and we're not meeting again to appoint a Zoning and Planning Committee, we can bring these to the council for you to approve. And just to give you an idea why this one has come to our attention is the roof color that they had selected to put on the house. I'm sure if you've been by it, you've seen some of the metal is already in place because they started it and then we found it and had to cite them as well. But they want to install a copper metal roof, and this does require that council approve a variance for this. So what we would just need to do is just go through the variance request as it's listed here, and then y'all can take it under consideration and vote as you see fit.
Okay, so I'm going to ask for a motion to consider this variance request before hearing comments and discussions. Do I have a motion?
I move we consider this.
Okay, second?
Second.
Second.
Okay, I think I saw Ed's hand go up. Thank you. All right, a discussion. First of all, this is in our codified code. It reads as, it's chapter 8. I think you all got a copy of it. 300.20 specific local codes regarding acceptable roof coverings. Two of these types listed as acceptable are metal roof shingles and metal roof panels. The code says the colors to be allowed are dark gray, dark brown, or dark green only, and must be a matte finish. A sample must be provided at the time of making application for a building permit and must be approved by the city building official. We can hear comments from the homeowner. Are they online?
No, they are not
All
present.
right. We can offer a time for citizen comments. Do we have any citizen comments?
I've received none.
Okay. All right. Now we can have comments and discussions by the council. And let me preface our discussion by saying there was a previous variance was approved by a past council, allowing this roof color variance to be acceptable in this case. Any discussion?
Well, Doug's not here to answer this, but I don't know what's the procedure of allowing, I mean, if you allow one person a variance, why would you deny another person a variance? Would we get into some sort of trouble there, or are we opening ourselves up for
Yes,
litigation?
I can tell you that. Yes, you are, because the precedent has already been set, and it has already been allowed. Yes, you would be. And I don't know if you all have driven up to where this house is located, but when you drive up, you can't see too much of it from the road. You pretty much have to drive up to close to where her house is to be able to see it. And from what I can see, there's not that many houses that actually can see her roof color except the one or two that live above her.
Did that answer your question, Moody?
Yes.
Okay. Any other discussion or questions?
So
Go ahead, Bill.
Go
was
ahead.
there, so I'm assuming there wasn't a permit pulled for this?
Originally not, no, that's what happened. They started the work and we found out they were working, and Bob had to issue a stop work order on them. The company was contracted, it was United Roofers, and they were contacted and they decided until this was approved or whatever that they would not come back. So, but they finally did apply for their permit, but the permit is pending the approval of this color.
Great, thank you. What stage is the installation?
I would say there's probably a good quarter of it already on from what I could see. And they currently have a tarp over the rest of the roof. So this would be an improvement over a tarp at any point.
The tarp has been on that roof for a very long time.
Has it? Yeah, I didn't know.
Yeah.
So
For
it must be
years.
something that's been needed for a while, but yeah.
Yes. Very, because I pass that house every day. Any other discussion or comments?
Yeah, this is sort of a, this is a tough one because you sympathize with people who have a leaking roof. We know how hard it is to get contractors up here. They've been waiting a long time. And yet we have an ordinance in place that allows for our homes to fit into our natural environment. We've also heard that the survey revealed that natural beauty was the #1 thing that brings people to Sky Valley, and that's something we need to protect. As I drive around Sky Valley, I see actually quite a few metal roofs, but they're all the matte finish and they're all in colors that aren't visible. I look at this particular house, it's on a beautiful hill, it's well situated. It opens onto the golf course. Obviously, people would be able to see it from the older section of Sky Valley on the other side of the golf course. We have people who are trimming trees, opening view lines, and what's going to happen when they look out and discover that they see the one roof in Sky Valley that catches your eye and takes the focus off the natural scenery. I think this is a tough one, and I think people look for us to make the tough decisions about what's best for the community at large. Obviously, the poor folks have covered, a quarter of their roof with a, fairly expensive copper roof. In many places, that would be considered an asset. I'm not sure that it is here. I wish that they had made a presentation to us to tell us if there is a way that the work that's already done can be dulled and salvaged. I don't know that that's possible.
Not with a precedent.
I guess, well, the precedent over off of Knob Drive on Lover's Lane, clearly the less populated part of Sky Valley. The only people that see that are the dog walkers up at the top of Knob Drive, and again, very few views, but I don't know what the development prospect is for that. Sadly, obviously this could have been avoided if the permit had been pulled. But I think that we have the ordinances in place to preserve the beauty and not allow this kind of thing. And I think people look to us to take leadership and make the hard decision and say that, no, this variance is not in the best interest of the community at large. So we're going to have to vote on this in a minute, and all our votes are going to be public. And, that's where I come down. I think we have to say no. It
Okay.
kills me to do it. Neighbors shouldn't have to, tell other neighbors, that I'm sorry you spent the money, but.
Thank you, Jim, for your
So-
opinion. Anybody else need to discuss or give an opinion or a comment?
Well,
Are we
in
ready?
my experience in contracting, once a variance is established, it's established. And in my world, we had to pursue them all the time. And we benefited a lot of times from a variance that preceded us. So I know it's real unfortunate. Had the proper protocol been followed, and I think that goes with house colors. I've seen a couple house colors that are questionable, but where do you start? You have the protocols in place to keep this from happening, and they need to be followed. However, there has been a variance, and I guess Doug is probably going to be the one that's going to have to let us know what liability we have under these circumstances.
Ella, I think we have
Yeah, I'm responding to her. Yeah, she's wanting to know, Carla made a comment. She said copper is a color that fits in the fall. I'm not familiar with the location. How did the other roof at Lover's Lane get approved? Again, and this is what Holly mentioned when we first started talking about this, that there had been one that had been previously approved. And it was done by variance. So this is not the first time. I mean, this, like Bruce says, there is precedence that has already been set here.
They're gonna come over Sunday night. They're leaving Monday.
Okay.
And she's gonna bring Polish sausage.
Any other comments,
on the
questions?
grill. And we'll get something to go with that.
Okay.
So what we will need to do is I'll go ahead and call for the vote. All of those in favor of approving this variance
Holly?
signify, yes.
I need to ask Bruce if
Yes.
he feels that we need to get Doug's feeling on this. The other house was built in 2008. That was a long time ago. Since then, we've had a lot of roofs put on, and everybody's put on a conforming roof. You know, every time I read our charter, I'm astounded at the power we have, and we have the ordinances in place. It's hard for me to believe that, you know, a variance from that far back would trump everything else that's in place. And do you want to get Doug's opinion on that before we vote and punt now, or should we go ahead and do it now?
May I make a comment?
Who said that?
It's Steve Mason. Yeah, it'd be better if you did a chat, Steve. That's what we're asking people to do, but
I did chat.
I have not received anything from you.
What I ask is if the roofer is licensed. Oh, let me turn the other thing off. And did he apply for the permit? If the homeowner contracted with the contractor and he didn't apply for a permit, you don't have to issue a variance.
As I was saying earlier, Steve, I don't know if you heard me. What happened with this one is that United Roofing Company started the job. We found out the roofing job was ongoing. They already had started the roof, found out once the stop order got issued, found out that the color was copper and not conducive to our ordinance. And at that time, we instructed the homeowners that they would have to apply for a variance to have this permit approved.
Ella,
And that's the way that works. Mhm.
Ella, I think his question or his comment was, it would apply to the contract that they signed for the roof. Who was supposed to be responsible for pulling the permit? The homeowner or the roofing
And that
company?
can vary. Sometimes the homeowners do them and sometimes the contractors do
I know,
them.
but that would be important to know, because if the contractor was supposed to pull the permit and did not, then financially the homeowner would be off the hook if this doesn't get approved.
And Ella, I guess a question I have legally, and as far as ordinance and codification, you know, the code says these are the colors you can use. If a variance is approved, does that now become part of the color palette?
No, sir, it does not. It does not. No, because that does not change what is in our ordinance. And each time someone would want to use this color, they would have to apply for a variance.
And what's the penalty if they don't apply for a variance and do this, other than?
Well, yeah, they should issue a stop order on it, and they should, I mean, we could take them to municipal court if they failed to do as they were told and did not stop.
So was a permit to do this filed with the city?
After what happened, like I said earlier, what initially happened with this roof, the contractor he started putting the metal on the roof, and then it was discovered that it was ongoing. Bob issued the stop order, and at that point, when they applied for the permit, that's when it was discovered the color was not conducive with our ordinance, and that's when we had them go back and say the homeowner is required to submit the variance, not the contractor. That is the homeowner's responsibility to make sure, not the contractor.
Do you think, all right, council, do you think that we need to have legal answers first before we make a decision?
I think so.
Bruce?
Well,
Okay.
yeah, our two options are either deny it and put the ball in the homeowner's court and see if they want to take any legal actions, or approve it. But it would be better to know where we stand, I think, legally before we do that.
So are we saying that we think we should put a hold on this decision?
Well, it sounds that is the case. I personally, myself, I like the copper. I think it's a beautiful color, and I'm not, but I can't speak for the community and what the community thinks there, because once we approve this, for sure, people down the road, after setting that precedent, would be able to do the same type of roof. But I don't see it. I mean, we have it's probably a lot like the steeple on the chapel, isn't it? The color
It
wise.
is very, yes, sir. It is. It is. It's more muted even than the chapel is.
Yeah.
But
Yes.
it'll age too.
Yeah.
That'll
Yeah.
turn green over time.
Ed, I think that's a good point. I don't have a problem with it. I don't know if I'm comfortable that I have the information, since we're representing, not what I like or don't like, or so. I'd like to see what Doug's position and what our position is if we say yay or nay.
Yeah, and by the way, Ed, I think that this copper is coated so that it does not oxidize into that blue-green
It's
that
probably
you may be
steel.
familiar with.
Is it actually copper, or is it a steel roof?
I have no idea.
I think it's steel. I think it is steel. Yeah.
Then it won't age.
Okay.
Yeah.
But again, my point was, and I've seen it from the golf course, and I think it looks good, but I don't know what the rest of the community is going to think. and for sure, when you look back, the ordinance that we're working off of now, I guess is probably 20 years old. So, maybe that's something we need to look at in terms of what in today's times and materials have changed. Maybe we need to take another look at that, but that's just my opinion.
Okay, so I'm getting the impression that we would put this on hold, talk to Doug, and come back and revisit this variance request. Is that what we're saying?
I think that's right. I think that if Doug tells us that the precedent is clearly binding and we're in great legal liability, I might think differently, but
And timely.
I think that right now it would be
Yeah, we would need a called meeting. We don't want to put this off for a month.
I agree, Moody, especially as much rain as we're getting. We don't need to put this off until the end of August. So would you all be agreeable to a called meeting once we get legal advice?
Yes.
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 Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, as soon as possible.
Okay. All right. Anybody else need to say anything else? And possibly we do need to look at that ordinance. That's something else we can talk about also. Also, the reason this meeting was postponed to the 30th was to give enough time for this to be in the newspaper. Correct me if I'm wrong, Ella, to let people know they could comment about this and give their opinions, the people in the neighborhood and so forth.
That's correct. And they were sent letters to let them know that this was ongoing, and we have not received any feedback from any of the adjoining or nearby property
Positive
owners.
or negative. Okay.
How many letters went out?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure how many property owners there were.
More than 5?
I think it was around 4 or 5. I'm not sure.
Mm-hmm.
6. It was 6.
Okay. All right. Okay, let's move on to other business, the public forum. Any general comments? Go ahead.
Can I go back and have y'all, if y'all are not going to make a motion on this, to please, if you decide you want to table, I need that motion to be made that you plan to table this consideration since a motion was made. We need to have something to place it on the
Okay.
table for
I will
further
revise the
consideration.
motion to consult with the attorney and have a special called meeting via Zoom to reconsider this issue as soon as possible so that the homeowner doesn't have to wait for a decision any longer than necessary.
Second?
I'll second.
Okay, thank you, Bruce. All in favor, say aye.
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 All opposed? Okay, so Ella, you will get with Doug and let him know what the discussion was and what answers we need to have to set
Yeah,
up
and
the,
we can also go back to number 8 and have that included on, and he can give his report at that time too, so I'll let
that
him
would be
know.
great at the, that'd be wonderful. Great idea.
But what would
Okay.
be great is to talk with him this afternoon and then get a meeting no later than tomorrow afternoon.
Okay, I'll see what we
Great.
can do. I'm not sure what his court calendar is like, because some are having court now.
I cannot meet tomorrow afternoon, but maybe tomorrow morning. That would be fine with me. Okay. All right, other business, public forum and general comments. Have we listened and heard all of those, Ella?
As far as I have, yes. Unless y'all got
Okay.
something else.
Okay. Do I have, thank y'all for participating in this meeting and for all of y'all out in internet land that have hung in there with us. We've had a lot of important issues to discuss. Thank y'all for participating. Do I have a motion to adjourn this meeting?
So moved.
Second.
Okay. I think that's a done deal. All in favor, say aye.
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 Y'all, please stay safe, everyone, and thank you all. We'll see you real soon again, it sounds like.
Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Okay.
Thank
Thank you,
y'all.
Holly.
Bye-bye.
Mhm.